We are back at the Verified Build, and today I am joined by Elliot from Adey. Elliot, do you want to just explain who you are and what you do at Adey?
Yeah, so I'm Elliot. I'm Adey's National Training Manager, and I help support with overseeing the training that we offer to installers and merchants across the country.
Perfect. So you are extremely knowledgeable about all things Adey, am I right?
Could say that.
It makes sense just to jump into what we've had at the build. So regarding the filter, do you want to just explain what filter we had and why that's different and how that compares to the other filters in the range?
We've got the Adey Micro3 Sense filter, which is our flagship Sense product. So it gives you all of the features and benefits that you would associate with a typical Adey magnetic filter, but with the additional benefit of actual remote connectivity. So we know that sludge is the #1 cause of breakdown for boilers. If we can monitor that remotely, it gives us an additional level of peace of mind for the homeowner as well.
Who's monitoring it remotely? Is that the engineer? Is that the homeowner themselves?
So it's the engineer. So they'll have an app on their phone where they can monitor the sludge levels at all times. If they want to, they can provide the homeowner with quarterly notifications if they want to give them that level of access. But if they'd rather just keep that to themselves, then it'll just be the engineer that will see that.
Just on like the platform there, is there like a subscription or anything like that?
So at the moment with sort of, one-off installers and small businesses, it is all included in the product. Unless you're a very large organisation fitting large quantities of these, there's no charge at present for that service. But yeah, possibly moving forward, there may be some fees associated with the Sense account.
So do you want to tell me a bit more about how this actually works and then what it actually means for this property?
Sludge is basically a breakdown of various metals in a heating system. So in this particular property, I can see we've got aluminium radiators downstairs, we've got iron radiators upstairs. Those metals over time will corrode and that will create what we call magnetite, otherwise known as sludge, which is the #1 cause of boiler breakdown. So what a magnetic filter will do is essentially the magnet inside will draw those metal particles into one place that can be serviced once a year, usually in line with the boiler service. There is also some non-magnetic capture in our filters as well. So anything that's non-magnetic, such as aluminium or other particles that we make it in a heating system, will also be caught as well. With this particular model, it also includes remote monitoring. That's just done with a magnetometer inside, which can detect the magnetite on the magnet, and that will notify the heating engineer if magnetite is rising, and they can possibly arrange a visit with that customer for absolute peace of mind. So we've got the #1 cause of boiler breakdown being monitored all year round.
And it sounds like we've got the filter on and it's only going to monitor what is an inevitability. How do we prevent that?
We want to make sure when we're fitting any heating system that we've done a thorough clean. So we have our MagnaCleanse tool for doing that. That's our cleaning tool. Once we've brought that heating system to a standard we're happy with, our MagnaClean will help provide ongoing protection, but it's also really important that we put our inhibitor in the system as well. So inhibitor is something that's in British standards, BS 7593. States that needs to be checked annually, and it's something that it needs to be tested for. Usually in line with the boiler service, we can keep on top of that as well, and that's going to help prevent that problem occurring as well.
Where would someone go to figure out if they've got any in it? Like, who do they speak to? They speak to the engineer.
Contact your local heating engineer. Okay, they should be carrying out an on-site water test each year. We have our ProCheck kit just in front of me, which is our equipment that we use for doing that. So what the ProCheck will do is essentially you get some test cards, you get a pot of strips to test the system with, and it will not only test for your inhibitor once a year, but also your corrosion and pH levels, along with the system turbidity, which is really just looking at the sample and determining, is it clear, is it brown, is it black, does it need any intervention? So definitely contact your local heating engineer and they should put you in good stead.
So I actually recently had first-hand experience with the ProCheck. So I had an issue with my boiler. They came out and fixed it. It was a problem with the heat exchanger. While the engineer was there, whipped out a ProCheck, and I was like, what are the causes of sludge buildup within a system? Where does that come from?
So yeah, you get various metals in a heating system that break down. Some of which are magnetic, so your typical sort of steel radiators, which is your most common radiator in a house. There are also other radiators now which are quite popular, like aluminium designer style radiators. With aluminium, it's non-magnetic. So people may have heard of the term dual capture filter. At Adey, we certainly don't compromise on any of our products. So all of our product range contain an element of dual capture, and that will help pick up on anything that's non-magnetic in the system. Again, that'll get cleaned annually in line with the boiler service.
Any filter, any size, any part of the range, all dual capture.
Yeah.
What is inhibitor and why is it important?
So inhibitor is really important in helping to maintain a clean system. So once the system's been fitted and you've completed your final flush, you add your inhibitor, okay, which is in line with the British standard recommendations of maintaining a clean system. What exactly it's doing is any water carrying heating system with dissimilar metals, over time, it's going to corrode. So it's a little bit like if you did some work in the garden and you left some nails outside in the rain, you go back the next day, there's rust on the nails, it's like a steel radiator. What we need to do is put a chemical in, maintain that chemical, check it annually. Again, we can use the Pro Check kit for doing that. And it's just going to create a passive layer over those metals to help prevent that breakdown over time. So we'll keep on top of it. It will last for 5 years in the system. Okay, what's really important is we use the correct dose for the litres of the system. So MC1 Plus will treat 125 litres. So it's really important that we get that accurate as well.
So you mentioned that the inhibitor is good for protecting the system from potential corrosion in the radiators, but does that also impact the boiler as well and the components inside of it?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's really important to maintain it for the boiler reasons, especially a new boiler that's under warranty. So on the benchmark where you fill in the services each year, there's actually a section that states how the inhibitor has been checked, is there inhibitor present? So it's really important we keep on top of that, because in the event of a breakdown under warranty, it's certainly something that would want to be checked at that time. So if we can make sure we've done our bit and we're keeping on top of it, then we're all good.
And then you mentioned the inhibitor, but I can see we've got a couple other products here. What's the purpose of all the additional chemicals in it?
So we've got a wide range of chemicals. Obviously, moving on to our bio side, again, it's stated in British standards as a recommendation for, certainly for low temperature systems, but also, I mean, I'll ask you, Harrison, what does your heating system do in the summer months?
Not a lot, not a lot.
So essentially what you've got is stagnant water that's sat in situ. And what we'll also get in heating systems is microbiotic growth over time, which is essentially like bacteria, stuff that's not magnetic, but it's something that we can treat and we can prevent by using a biocide. And that's something that stays in the system. So literally these two together, they go in and that's it, you keep them in there.
How long do these chemicals last in the system?
So the chemicals will last for 5 years in the system. And as per the current British standards, after 5 years, what's advised is that the system's either drained down and redosed with the appropriate chemical. Alternatively, you can send a water sample to a lab where it can be analysed and you can have sort of a really thorough breakdown of what exactly is going on in the system. But yeah, most people will just drain down, redose, retest, and off you go.
That makes me nervous because my system's probably had the same water in it for like 10 years. What should I as a homeowner do in that situation? It seems like it's still okay, but should I be taking some actions now to prevent something in the future?
Absolutely, yeah, because if you allow the system to build up with a large amount of sludge. I mean, Adey, we've done some independent research with some of the data really with what you could save on your gas bill. And if you take a system that's become heavily sludged and you follow our 4 steps of best practice, which is test, clean, protect and maintain, you can actually save up to 7% on your gas bill. We want to make sure that system stays clear because gas bills are high enough already. Again, really, that is the #1 cause of breakdown as well. So not only are you going to keep your bill as low as possible, but you're actually going to reduce the risk of the thing packing up as well, like quite significantly.
If it's a homeowner that's watching this, is there any tips, advice, info that you just want to leave them with? If nothing else they get from this video, what's the one thing you want them to know?
If you've got a regular heating engineer that comes to the property, you know, if you're not getting your boiler service already, make sure you are. And secondly, make sure the engineer is aware of the water testing side of things. You know, are they using Adey products? You know, if they're not, I'd highly recommend it. Any further advice that you're after, visit adey.com and you'll see that we have a training resources section where it will link you to our YouTube page, where we've got sort of additional videos about, you know, how filters work, how to flush systems, and exactly what you're going to get out of it, basically.
And then for any installers that are watching this, what would you like them to know?
As a installer myself, I know how important it is to kind of maintain, your training and, just keeping on top of regulations, understanding what's changing in the industry. And for me, water quality is one of the most important things to get your head around to make sure, you are flushing systems properly. What we've just created is a brilliant e-learning course. It's really short, it's 20 minutes. Go on to adey.com/training and you'll see a section for the e-learning course. Fill in your details, complete the course. There's a little test at the end, but you'll get a certificate out of it as well. So it'll just give you a nice overview of all the things we've discussed in a bit more detail. If you want to take that one step further, we also carry out a fantastic one-day training course. It's only 30 quid. We've got dates launching very soon. So obviously be sure to get on one of those as well.
Perfect. Guys, all the links will be in the description of this video. Elliot, thank you for joining me today. Big shout out and a thank you to Adey for sponsoring the verified build. And guys, if you're watching this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Coming soon.